Okay, so this topic is keyword research, and in the members area you will find, first of all, you will find a video on how to use the actual app to generate these landscape sheets. It's super easy, and I don't want to spend any time on that since it's not essential to understand that. It's super simple to understand from the video. Also, as I promised earlier, this exact process of doing keyword research and the app responsible for generating these landscape sheets is going to be improved in the next 2 to 3 weeks because we're adding something that I'll explain at the end. So that's another reason not to go through the exact step-by-step process because that's actually going to change in 2 weeks. But with that, everything you're seeing right now will still be valid. There will be just a bit more information to help you make even better decisions. So there are 2 main questions we're going to answer as we look at these sheets. One is what keywords should I target, and the second one is how many units do I give away for each keyword. And in front of you are some Google Sheets printed out, which I call landscape sheets. We're going to go through some examples. We'll look at what landscape sheets are. How to build them, we're not going to cover that here. As I mentioned, we'll have a separate video on that. And I just want to explain why this is such a useful tool. You can give me a random product that was poorly chosen with no criteria in place, and there's still a chance I can turn it into a winner after creating a landscape sheet like this one. Just because I can identify certain gaps in the market that I can exploit, certain keywords that everyone else is ignoring. Of course, doing proper product picking and having a process for that and having the right criteria is important, but it's good to keep in mind that even a poorly chosen product can still be turned into a somewhat of a winner if you choose the right keywords to go after. Even more, if you give me 10 random products with no criteria whatsoever in choosing them, after building a landscape sheet for each of these ones, you can at least choose one of these 10 that really has a chance to be a winning product. So why do I call them landscape sheets? Landscape because we're looking at the keywords and rankings landscape or the big picture. We're not just looking at one product. We're not just looking at one keyword. We're trying to look at several products, several keywords, and understand the bigger picture. And sheet just because it's a Google spreadsheet. So big picture, instead of deciding you want to source and launch a bet tray, which is the example we're going to go over today. And you could go on Amazon, search for bet tray, fire up Jungle Scout, look at how much the products showing up are making and how many reviews they have. I mean, looking at everything, looking at all the keywords all at once, that's what we're doing here, at as many products as possible, looking at rankings, at sponsored result counts, at result counts, search volumes, all at once. It's also good output and input. A landscape sheet captures all this raw data and presents it in a format that is easy to follow. It's also very systematic, so a VA can easily follow the SOP. It's the most powerful tool in our business, even though it's just a simple spreadsheet. Even in as little as 10 minutes of looking at the landscape sheet, I know if this is a good opportunity or not, if it's better or worse than 9 other opportunities I'm considering. So this is what we usually do after a VA goes through the product picking process that I've shown you before, and they create that spreadsheet, they get the quick quotes, and they find the ones that have good ROI and good profit margin. Just before we make our final decision, we might print a landscape sheet for each of those products and base our final decision on those. And then we use them again later when we need to decide what keywords to target. I know how much inventory I will need, going back to your question. which keywords I'm going to target, what my exact ranking strategy will be, which keywords I need to include in my listing and get indexed for. What are the 1% of all keywords that I need to focus on, right? If you go into any tool and you put an ASIN in there, you can get 2,000, 3,000 keywords. And we all know that when we do giveaway campaigns, you're probably going to go after 5 keywords, 10 keywords, 20 keywords. So it's going to be at most 1% of all the keywords, and it's important to know how to choose them. It's an 80-20 of keyword choosing. I will also know which product I want to mirror, if any, and what opportunities are missed by almost everyone. I can immediately understand if it's a landscape in which reviews might prohibit me to participate, how to have an overall listing that is better than everyone else's from all points of view. And it's all about the process of using the information, not the raw data. So if you're watching the recording right now, in here we're going to switch to looking at the actual printed landscape sheets. So at home you can open up the spreadsheets that are included under this video and you can follow along. So first of all, I just want to describe what's in front of you. So first of all, we've selected, we're looking at a product opportunity, and in this case it would be bed tray. And this was built on October 16th, 2018. It's always a good idea to include the date in there so you know when the data is from. You might want to rerun this. It's all just, you know, a click of a button in a software, so it's easy to generate new ones. And we have the only process that we've gone through before obtaining this landscape sheet was to identify 8 different bed trays, 8 different ASINs that we want to use. So those are manually selected by us. And then under each ASIN, we have several important features of this product. So we have the actual link to Amazon, we have the main image, we have the seller, the title, the number of reviews, the rating, the price, the BSR, estimated monthly sales, estimated monthly revenue, captured search volume, revenue to volume ratios, sponsored occurrences run 1, sponsored occurrences run 2, top 10 position, and age in months. So some of these are obvious what they mean, so I'm just going to explain the ones that aren't obvious. So the first one that I need to mention is estimated monthly sales and estimated monthly revenue. Those are just some very raw estimates that I came up with, and they are not as accurate as the ones in Jungle Scout or Viral Launch. So if you run a landscape sheet, it's almost fully automated, but if you want to get really accurate results, you would replace, or you would have your VA replace those estimates with the ones from Jungle Scout or Viral Launch, or whatever you normally use for estimating sales. Captured search volume, we're adding up the search volume of all the keywords for which this product is showing up in the top 10 results. So for example, if you look at column 1, the first bed tray, you can see under captured search volume, you can see 127,000. That means that if you look at all the keywords, you can see, for example, the first keyword, laptop desk, it's on position 5, and it has an exact volume of 43,000. We're adding 43,000 to the captured volume. Then the second one that it's ranked for is bed table, that is row number 4. It's on position 6, so we can add the search volume for that one as well. So it's 43,000 plus 14,000 plus 10,000. Does it make sense? Okay, so that's captured search volume. So now if you look at that row, you can now compare all these different products, and you can look, okay, which one has the highest captured search volume? It's the first one. And it's not a coincidence that that's also the product that has the highest revenue. So that's great. It's a sign that the revenue of this product is correlated with the fact that it's well ranked for keywords. And whenever you see a product opportunity like this one, this can be a good starting point. I would just look at revenue. All these columns are sorted by revenue. And I also see this captured search volume. So ideally what I want to see is that high captured search volume correlates with high revenue, low captured volume correlates with low revenue. That's a good indication that we're in a niche where products are relying on organic rankings and not on sponsored ads, or at least overall statistically. Because there are some niches where there's a heavy reliance on giveaways, heavy reliance on sponsored ads, heavy reliance on outside traffic, or maybe they're brand-driven. So this is a good way to do a quick check, and I want to continue investigating this one because there's a strong correlation between revenue and captured search volume. Since we're talking about search volume, yes, this is old data from December 2018, since we no longer have fresh search volume. However, in the new update 3 weeks from now, we will have estimated search volume based on the search frequency rank that we get from brand analytics. So you will have two columns, one with the old search volume from December and the new estimated search volume based on fresh data. So I wouldn't worry about the fact that it's not fresh data. It's still very usable. Okay, next one. We have sponsored occurrences run number 1 and sponsored occurrences run number 2. So basically the software looks through all the keywords and it's looking for, let's say, the product in column number 1, and it's looking to see, can I find this product as a sponsored result? And for example, you can see that under run number 1, sponsored occurrences run number 1, we have 197. So this product appeared as a sponsored result for 197 keywords. But as you all know, if you search for a keyword, you will see certain sponsored results now. You refresh the page, you will see potentially other results. So that's why we run that twice. The app is simply scraping results twice, so we get an overall idea. These numbers are not, in any way accurate, but we can still get an idea if we compare column 1 and column 2. We can see that the first product is definitely running ads. It's somewhere between 197 and 400 keywords that they're advertising for. Maybe it's less, maybe it's more, but we definitely know that there's at least 400 keywords they're advertising for, while for product number 2, it's 0. So just comparing these two products, it's interesting to see that one has $81,000 in revenue, one has $50,000 in revenue, and yes, the first one is also better ranked. However, we have to take into account that they're running sponsored ads, while the second one isn't running any sponsored ads. The revenue is most likely purely based on rankings. So what conclusions we can draw from here? Well, I might be inclined to think that maybe the profit margin of the first one is overall lower because they also have the cost of advertising. However, I might also draw the conclusion that even though they're really well ranked, it's still worth it for them to run sponsored ads. I may also draw the conclusion that running sponsored ads helps with ranking. So that's something I can't draw a definite conclusion on, but it's something interesting to look at. And also you want to look at all the products. We have 8 products here. 3 of them seem to be running sponsored ads. The first one, the third one, and the last one, the other ones have 0. And then we have just one more that maybe isn't clear, top 10 positions. That simply tells you how many keywords is this product ranked for in the top 10. So for example, the first product, first column, top 10 positions, 313. This product is ranked for 313 different keywords. And again, it's nice to see a sort of correlation between revenue and not just search volume, but the number of keywords these products are ranked for. The first ones are 313 to 78 to 53, while the last ones are 100, 309, and 114. And something that jumps out right away is that 7th column where under top 10 positions, you can see 309. So not the last product, but the second to last is ranked for 300 keywords, but it's one of the products that makes the least money. So that's interesting. Why is it making much less revenue than the other ones, even though it's almost as well ranked as the first one? Well, it's because they are ranked for more long-tail keywords, and they're completely ignoring, or they're not ranked for the main ones. So it's something, again, to keep in mind as we examine this niche. Okay, so those are kind of the main metrics that you want to look at and the steps you want to take as you examine the products at the first glance. And now I just want to draw your attention to the columns underneath. So all the way to the left, we have the keyword. That's obvious what that is. Then we have results. That's simply how many asins show up in the search results for that keyword. Then we have specificity. That's just a ratio between the exact volume and the broad volume for that keyword. So for example, if we look at the third keyword, tray, it has a specificity of 1%. It's a very general keyword. How do we know it has a specificity of 1%? We simply divide its exact volume, 23,000, by its broad volume, 1,654,000. So most people who search for tray, they don't search for tray specifically. They search for other keywords that contain the word tray. So it's a general keyword. Compare it to, I guess it's around the 8th or 9th keyword, lap desks for adults, which has under specificity, it has 92%. That's a very specific keyword. So this is one of the metrics that we actually use when we decide what keywords to go after. There is a strong correlation between specificity and actual conversion rate. Even though a keyword might have higher search volume, if it's a super non-specific keyword, very general like tray, you should expect that the conversion rate from the keyword is very low. Compare it to lap desks for adults. That's someone who probably first searched for lap desk, then they saw that there are a lot of lap desks that are for kids, so then they refined their search and they went for lap desks for adults. So they know better exactly what they want. They're closer to actually finishing that purchase. So their search is more specific. The likelihood that the click from this keyword converts is higher. So specificity 92%. I like that keyword much more than the general keyword, which is tray. So you can see highlighted there, and I apologize, this is black and white, but in the spreadsheet, of course, you have different colors for really low specificity versus very high specificity. You can also sort and filter, so you can immediately, if you want, exclude general keywords. So, and you'll see that in the video, it's super easy to do. In Google Sheets, you enable a filter, and you say, I don't even want to see keywords that have under 20% specificity, or I only want to see keywords with 80% or more specificity. So that third column, even though it's a very simple concept, it's a great starting point for trying to identify keywords. You'll notice that all these keywords are sorted by exact volume. So the first keyword, lap desk, has the highest exact volume. The next one, serving tray, has a lower exact volume, and so on. So that takes us to the very last 4 columns, all the way to the right. So you can see individual contribution, and you can see 13.95%. That means that that keyword overall in the entire niche contributes 14% of the traffic, just based on the search volume. So for everyone who searches a variation of a bed tray, 40% of the people search for lap desk. So that is the #1 keyword. Then the next keyword, serving tray, has an individual contribution of 8%. Next one, 7%. So if you add all of these up, they add up to 100%. Then you have cumulative contribution. That's simply, for example, if you look at the third row where you see 30.2%, it just means that all the keywords up to that point add up to 30%. So lab desk with 13.95 plus serving tray with 8.63 plus tray with 7.62. If you add them up, it's 30%. So another easy thing that you can do is look at, if I'm trying to do 80-20, what's the minimum number of keywords that can give me the top, let's say, 50% of the traffic? So all you have to do is you look in the cumulative contribution column, and the top 9 keywords bring in 50% of all the traffic in the niche. So lab desk, serving tray, tray, bed table, bed desk, tray table, and lab desk for adults, and ottoman tray. Combined, they have 50% of all the traffic. So if you had a high budget and you wanted to go for the top keywords and capture 50% of the traffic in the niche, you would just go for these 9 keywords. The very last column, VWS, that is volume weighted sales. This one is going to take a couple of minutes to explain. So let's start by looking above that. You will see target monthly sales, 2,174. So that's how many sales we want to make per month. Did you find that cell, target monthly sales, 2,174? So where did that come from? It's the estimation for the second product. So in this scenario, the way I completed the spreadsheet, I'm just imagining, okay, let's say I have the budget to give away 2,000 units, and I also want to make 2,000 sales per month. I'm just going to set that in that cell. You can change it to any number you want. I've just set it to be the exact number of sales that is estimated for the second product, so 2,174. So assuming that's the number of total units I want to give away, so I can reach that level of of sales per month, the question I want to answer is how many units do I give away per each keyword? So if I had an amazing budget and I wanted to go after the entire niche, I would simply add up, I would simply give away 2,174 units, and the way I would distribute them would be I would give away 303 through the keyword lab desk, 188 through serving tray, 166 through tray, and so on. Of course, that's not a smart way of doing it. You don't want to attack all the keywords in the niche. You want to be more selective. So the benefit of having this sheet is that it allows us to pick just certain keywords and understand how much search volume we can expect from that. So you'll see in the video there are a lot of ways to approach this filter it. Because we have limited time, I'm just going to share my favorite one, which is to identify gap keywords. That's probably not the best name. When I named them gap keywords, I just thought about gaps in the market, meaning what are the keywords that most sellers are ignoring, where there aren't a lot of sellers ranked or a lot of products ranked for that keyword. So gap keywords, in my definition, is a keyword that most other sellers are ignoring. So the benefit of this spreadsheet is that we can quickly identify those kind of keywords. So the first place where you can look at to identify them is in the second column, results. You just look for keywords that have a low number of results. And since they're already sorted by exact volume, we know that the first ones who still have a low count, they're good candidates to be a gap keyword. So the first one that jumps out is, I think, number 8, lab desks for adults, which we've already talked about. only 237 results. If you compare it to keywords around that with 10,000, 5,000, 20,000, 237 is really low. It's also very specific, 92%. So even if you think about, okay, how many pages of results there must be for this keyword, if you get like, let's say 20, probably now it's like 30 results per page. There aren't even 20 pages of results. So just getting indexed for this product is going to be a great start. So getting ranked for it will probably don't take too much. So 237 results, very specific. And then next, what I really want to look for is to look in the rows corresponding to in the columns corresponding to each product and see which of the products are targeting this keyword. So I can see that the first one is targeting it. They're number 8 for lab desks for adults. But then the second one is not even indexed for it. The third one is on position 35. NA, as in not available, NA, 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 NA. So only the first one, who is actually the one that makes the most money, they do their keyword research, they're targeting the right keywords, they're running sponsored ads for all the keywords they're targeting. They're the ones who are capturing volume and sales from that keyword. Most other sellers are ignoring that keyword. So that, for me, is a keyword I would highlight, and it's one of the top 9 keywords. So it has great search volume. It's very specific, so the conversion rate from it will be high. It will generate me a lot of sales. And if you look at the number of giveaways, next to number 8 at the end there in the column, it's about 55. So I need to give away 55 units over the course of a month using StormGaps, which I showed you before, and it's very likely that you'll get ranked for this keyword. Now it's true, maybe it will be a bit less, maybe a bit more. That's why we run StormGaps to actually adapt this number, and we make a change. You know, this is just an estimate. Maybe if you run Helium 10 Cerebro, they will give you a different estimate. Viral Launch, maybe a different estimate. This is ours. It's based on what I've seen in my experience, and I think it's pretty accurate, especially when you look at gap keywords. So does it make sense why lab desks for adults is a gap keyword? Yes? No? Okay, awesome. Okay, so what I normally do, or what our VAs do, you see you have the whole spreadsheet. They just go keyword by keyword, and they identify all the gap keywords, because those are the easiest keywords to go after in the beginning. It doesn't make sense to attack the main keywords, even if you have the budget. That's the lazy way of doing it. Even if you have the budget, it's not worth spending it that way. Also, these gap keywords are usually long tails. So if I attack lab desks for adults, lab desks for beds, lab desks for blah, 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 it will also help the main keyword, which is lab desk. So it's a better way to approach it this way. So one way we're using these spreadsheets is to find these gap keywords. We'll find just one more, and then we'll move on. So maybe the number of results is over 1,000, so it doesn't stand out because of that. But for me, another one that, as I keep going down that list, I see laptop desk for bed. You'll identify it because in the specificity column, it's highlighted because it has 96%. It's the 19th row. So yes, it has 3,000 results. It's, it's not 237, but it's a very specific keyword at 96%. Probably it will have a great conversion rate. And then furthermore, what I want to do again is move on to those 8 columns and look at how these products are ranked for it. So going through those columns, I see 24. That's not in the top 10, so I don't care about that one. 41, again, it's not well ranked. The third product is number 4, so I will consider that the third product is targeting this keyword. They're indexed for it, and they are ranked for it. And then again, the last 5 are NA, 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 NA. So again, even though the result count for this one is a bit higher at 3,000, I would still count this one as a gap keyword. Why? Because only one competitor is really well ranked for it. There are a couple more who are indexed for it, but they're not well ranked. And the 5 other ones are completely ignoring it. So this is a gap keyword, great specificity, probably will convert really well. Laptop desk for bed, if I include bed in my title, if I make my images, one of my images, relevant for this to show that you can use it in bed, probably will do really well. Number of units I have to give away, just 22. Maybe it will be more just because we're doing storm gaps and maybe we'll want to ramp things up and we begin with 1 or 2 giveaways per day. And just when we end, maybe we give away 10 and 10, but still a great keyword to target. And very specific, we'll keep our conversion high from the very beginning. So this would be the process of identifying gap keywords. And there are other things we can do, as you'll see in the video that you can watch from the members area. We can target the main keywords. Again, I don't recommend that. It's a lazy way of doing it. You can target the mid-30s, everything between 50% cumulative contribution all the way to 80%. I would say those are not quite long tails. They're kind of secondary keywords, and you capture about 30% of the traffic between 50% and 80%. And there's a couple more strategies. And with that, I think I'm going to stop with this example for now, just because I want to make sure that we cover all the content. But yeah, there's some exciting stuff coming to update this spreadsheet, and there's a couple more strategies that I think you will like in the members area. Okay, so predictive product picking. I just want to show you the biggest update that is coming to this spreadsheet. And I'm just going to show you the source of the data that we're going to use. So if I search for bed tray, which is the keyword we're looking at here, and I click on any of the products that show up, I'm just going to click on the first one. And if you scroll all the way down, there's a new section that hasn't been there like 2 months ago. It hasn't updated now. It's still looking at the last keyword I was searching, which was laptop desk. But it says customers who search for laptop desks ultimately bought. And I'm just going to zoom in just to show you what I'm referring to. So it's this section right here. So that's amazing data for us. Basically, Amazon is telling us which are the top converting ASINs for laptop desk. So, for example, imagine taking the average of the reviews that we're seeing there. So I can see 582, 717, 1,000, 150, 800. I take the average. So now in the spreadsheet, I put in one column average review rate of the top converting ASINs. And let's say it's about 500. So now I know that if I want to be one of the top converting products for laptop desk, it's a super competitive keyword, and maybe I won't be able to stick my ranking just because of the number of reviews. But maybe a better metric, which we will also include in the columns here, will be the minimum number of reviews. And in this case, ignoring 20, which I think it's just someone doing a ranking campaign right now, the smallest one, hopefully you can see, is 158. So to me, that would be the best indication, like the 4th best converting product for laptop desk has 158 reviews. So that answers the big question of how many reviews do I need if I decide to launch a laptop desk on Amazon if I want to be able to stick my ranking. Because you can always do a mom branding, you can do a holy grail, get ranked to the first page, top positions for laptop desk, even if you have 20 reviews. But does it mean that the ranking will stick? No. Probably you need about 150 reviews. So you can do this, and this is what the app will do for each of these keywords that you see here. It will look at this footer here on every listing, to see what's the average number of reviews, what's the minimum number of reviews. You can do the same for price. Let's say that to be profitable, to have the right ROI and the right profit margin, you need to sell your laptop desk at $50. Well, let's look at the prices here. We have 17, 38, 17, 32, and 44. And what would be a good metric to use here? The maximum price. How much can I charge? What's the most that my competitors charge and they still convert well for this product? They charge, the one that charges the most charges $44. So my conclusion here would be, after just looking at this footer, is I need at least 150 reviews, and I need to charge at most $44 in order to be a top converting product for this keyword. So if I want to compete in this niche and specifically compete for this keyword, that's what I need. So taking this information one by one manually, it's kind of annoying, but once we have it in the landscape sheet, it means that we can decide, maybe I still want to source this kind of product, but combined with the landscape sheet, now I know which keywords I need to target, not based on the strategy I shared with you before, which was gap keywords, identifying gap keywords, but instead identifying keywords that meet a certain criterion, like charge at least $40 and not have more than 100 reviews. Does it make sense? Yes? No? Okay. So that's the data source. Again, you'll get an update about this one and an SOP related to how that data gets integrated here. And with that, I'm going to take 5 minutes of questions if you have related to keyword research specifically, and then we'll move on.
So question, so looking at the spreadsheet, and I'm a little confused to the, maybe I missed the very beginning, because it looks like that these are the top selling for bed tray, is that correct?
There are some of the best-selling bed trays that fit a certain style. So they were chosen manually. So that was the only manual step involved. Opening up Jungle Scout, so we select only ones that are some of the best in terms of revenue, but excluding anything that doesn't have this specific style. So there's an assumption before building this spreadsheet that that's the style we want to source.
Yeah, my question was similar. So those 8 that you picked across the top, those came from Jungle Scout?
Yes, so searching for bed tray and then selecting the ones that met a certain threshold in terms of revenue.
So could you also use, like the ones that you just showed us, the ones the customer bought on Amazon that were like the best sellers,
Yeah, sure.
instead of Jungle Scout ones?
Yeah, so that's actually a great idea. You can start from that section there, pick the products that fit the style that you plan to source,
Right.
and I would still take into account the revenue. So it's very likely that since they're showing in that section, they have high revenue, but I would still check that.
Yeah, my other thought is, this says a landscape sheet for a bed tray. Isn't a bed tray and a lap desk different? I mean, I think of a bed tray as, bringing in breakfast on your birthday to, eat in bed, rather than a laptop desk, which, you would angle and, work at.
Yeah, so that's where specificity comes into play, right? So if you look at which keywords are really specific, they will be the ones that actually contain things that become more specific. But the thing is that what happens in practice on Amazon is, yes, you will search for it as a bed tray, and yes, that's probably the best way to describe it, but there will be people who search for lap desk, and they will still buy the first product. Because you can see lap desk, first product is ranked number 5. It wouldn't be ranked there if there wouldn't be people buying it. So yes, I understand that,
Right.
it doesn't make, it's not the way you would describe it or I would describe it, but there are people who search for lap desk and buy one of these products.
Right, okay,
So
thank
we
you.
let the data dictate what we're doing.
Yeah, Tryon, I have two major questions, So the first question would be this one. I will give an example, So for example, if you look for the keto powder on Amazon, you will find that first results on the keto powder are not keto powder, It's a different product, like MCT powder, But kind of they claim themselves keto powder, somehow they get ranked, So my question is let's say if I launch keto powder, the actual one,
Yeah.
Should I try to rank this keyword and somehow complain on Amazon that people who place in the first position are not relevant, it's kind of, I know it's meant to be not good, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, what would be the best solution? Because probably people who already stay there for the keto powder, they already outrank and they use some techniques, Would you consider this as a opportunity or try to stay away,
I wouldn't, just because, yes, maybe they are just using black hat techniques to get up there, but I would also think that, this is a very trendy topic, right, keto, so there are a lot of new people who don't fully understand all the products available, so they heard that, I need to get some keto powder, and they don't realize that, there's a difference between keto powder and MCT oil powder and all those other variations, collagen powder. They just don't know enough about the niche, and they end up buying the products that are ranked, even though maybe those guys got ranked using black hat techniques. So I wouldn't report them to Amazon. I think
No.
Yeah.
Would you try to stay away from this keyword because you see already something's
Yeah.
going on there, that you
Oh, yeah,
are
yeah,
not controllable, no? So you get
Yeah.
to consider other list of keywords,
Yeah, so I would definitely go for the ones where there's no shady things going on, right? You don't want to, it means that, let's say you got ranked in the top 3, it's very likely that someone comes and sabotages you, so yeah, I would stay away from that.
And the last question for the relevancy, for example, I decide to launch anti-cellulite cream, but the main request and sales coming from anti-cellulite gel. For example, I'm just giving an example. So should I try somehow to stuff this keyword like a gel to my title, but I have a cream,
Yeah.
So I don't want to mislead customers, but you see this, the keyword of similar, because probably people just need anti-cellulite solution. They don't need a kind of cream or gel, they don't care,
Yeah.
So what would be your solution, in this way, in this case?
Okay, so I don't know enough about that specific example, but just as a general answer, I try to make, so this is one of the reasons I don't like to spam my listing with keywords. I don't have any keywords in my backend because I think it's beneficial, and I've observed that, and I really believe it's true, that you need to go after very specific keywords that convert well for you. Yes, you're going to lose some traffic, but I think Amazon rewards you being very specific and not attacking all the keywords and being super relevant for what your product really is. I've seen benefits from that by restricting the
So you're saying you would try to stay away from completely, let's say
yeah,
the
like if
stable.
you're a cream, I would stay away from gels. I would try to not get ranked for gels if that will lead to a low conversion from that.
So let's say with this table, some of the keywords are not relevant to one of the 8 ASINs, but you launch in one of the products that, let's say, don't have a stance, So you would not try to rank for the stance but sometimes when people are looking for the product, they don't know exactly what they want, So,
Yeah, so
how you consider this
Yeah, I agree. There's a balance there between, are people just, there are so many ways to describe this product, and I think it's the case with these laptop tables. And I think that's a bit different between, with some other situations where obviously you shouldn't be in those search results. Again, even if in this situation, my strategy, especially if I'm on a limited budget and or even if I'm not on a limited budget, but I want to optimize how I'm distributing my investments between the various products, I would try to get ranked for the most specific, most relevant product keywords first. And then if I really want to grow this product, scale it up, attack the niche in full, then, then I'm going to attack the main keywords where I know, the conversion will be very low because people are not sure. And just as a final thought, you have to keep in mind that there's a journey that customers take. They don't know what they're searching for, so they're searching for left desk. They see what results show up. They refine their search until they see exactly what they're looking for. So I want to attack the keywords that are at the end of this journey. I think that's more beneficial.
So if we can get like PPC reports from Mr. Chow and stuff like that, you wouldn't leverage that at all, like to go after super high converting keywords for your competitors?
Yeah, so you could use the conversion rate from those PPC reports, just edit as a column in the spreadsheet, filter based on that or sort based on that.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not going to go into the black hat stuff here, but yeah, that's something I would do.
Okay. And my second question, actually, backtrack a little bit. If all the criteria make sense, what are your thoughts regarding if a lot of people on page one, instead of FBA, sold by Amazon?
Yeah, so I think I had it in the slides and I just jumped over it. So I want to see at least 2 people on the first page for one of the main keywords being fulfilled by Amazon. And to give you a more specific example, I sell a lot of furniture, and a lot of people sell furniture fulfilled by Amazon or sold by Amazon. I always want to have at least 2 other people who are FBA. However, something that I should specify here is that I specifically optimize the volume of my boxes, and I make things that not to be pre-assembled, just so I can do FBA and optimize my costs. And I also think it's beneficial because I'm taking advantage of something called the IKEA effect, where people, if you have them assemble something with proper instructions, they actually value that product more compared to if it came pre-assembled. So to go back to your question, just because most of the sellers are FBM or vendors, I'm not going to avoid that niche. I actually like those niches as long as there are at least a couple of others who are FBA.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so I noticed you used Jungle Scout quite a bit for the keyword research piece. What are your thoughts on Helium 10?
So personally, I prefer Jungle Scout and Viral Launch. I haven't used Helium 10 enough. I think it's perfectly fine. It's just my experience. Most of my experience has been with those other 2 tools. But I think Helium 10 is like, those 3 are the best out there. I just haven't used Helium 10 that much. And this will be the last question.
I know in one of the accelerator sessions, you mentioned that you would stop using the main view because it was redundant. You would look at the mirrors, but I noticed you didn't touch on that. So is there a particular reason, or can we still use a mirror 1 and then mirror like a product, stuff like that?
Yeah, so I'm not going to address that here since it's an accelerator question, but follow what I'm saying in accelerator. For everyone else, in the video that you will see that, this is just the main view that we start from, but something that you can do here on paper, but you can do in the spreadsheet, is to actually filter the results so you only look at the first column. So you ignore all the keywords that don't have the first product ranked, and then you analyze the spreadsheet that way. That's explained in the videos.